What's up, Men's Physique fans, and welcome back to another video. If I had to sum up what took place this past week in the Men's Physique division, I think the simplest way that I can put it would just be a lot. Andre Ferguson crashes out. We introduce a new qualified Olympian. Ryan Terry's job gets threatened by, well, like everybody. And the IFBB Pro League literally kicked out China from their federation. Yeah, it's safe to say we have a lot to catch up on, but before we get there, I wanted to remind you guys that I'm now taking on one-on-one coaching clients. So if you are a friend or interested in stepping on stage for the first time, earning your IFBB Pro card, or maybe you understand that you need to build a stronger foundation in order to be competitive at a future show, then all you guys have to do is click the link in my bio, and I can promise you guys this, it will not be easy. I'm going to force you to raise the standards of what you think hard work already is, and I will make sure to create an individualized approach for you. No cookie cutter bullshit, while also prioritizing communication and, again, holding your feet to the fire. So if you're interested in one-on-one coaching, all you guys have to do is click the link in my bio, and I can promise you guys this, it will be the best investment that you have ever made. But now that we got that out of the way, I want you guys to sit back, relax, and enjoy this video.
Grapevine, but I ain't hearing nothing great. No, they wanna take it all from me, so I give what it takes. Whole life been a miracle, seen everything but a cape. Why would I stop now? Found everything on a journey, but another way. Look.
With only 4 weeks left to qualify for the 2025 Mr. Olympia, people are crawling and scratching to secure those final spots. And it was no different this past weekend at the Atlanta Pro, where we had a first call out riddled with Olympians, top 14 athletes in the world, international powerhouses, rookies making their presence felt, in the usual names who have been hanging around those top call-outs all season. But before we get there, I want to quickly break down your top 4 finalists, starting off with your 4th place finisher in Matthew Hackett. Matthew's start to his pro career is the true definition of any given Saturday. Why? Because just last week at his pro debut, Matt finished in the 3rd callouts. But now, fast forward just a week later, Matt finds himself in the top 4 in just his 2nd pro show. Matt is a guy with a lot of promise, probably one of the craziest structures in the men's physique division, a guy who's balanced from front to back, and a guy who really not missing anything. And the craziest part about this all, that he was literally just natural last year, where he won the overall at probably the most competitive national show of the year. But Matt is definitely one of those guys you have to keep an eye out for, because if he can continue to fine-tune his physique, build upon a foundation which is already light years ahead of a lot of guys in the pro leagues in his first year, this guy is going to be truly dangerous. Matt brought a balanced package. The only thing he needs to continue to do is add some thickness to his erectors, and his conditioning was significantly better this week compared to where it was just the week before. But I'm telling you guys right now, I said it last year, I said it last week, and I'm going to say it again. Matthew is a future Olympian. Keep your eyes out. And I want you guys to stop me if you've ever heard this one before, but coming in at 3rd place is none other than Mario Stewart, a guy who we've covered quite often on this channel, because he is a guy who's consistently runs the gauntlet and consistently finds himself in these top conversations. At previous shows, it was his conditioning that held him back. It was the detail, and it was just seemingly the lack of pop that he brought to the stage. He has the structure, he has the balance, but he needs to make sure that he controls all of those other variables in order to get that Olympia qualification. Now, I will say here, this was without a doubt the closest he has ever come to just bringing the look that we were all waiting to see. The conditioning was on point, the detail was on point, and the fullness across the board was significantly better than previous shows, but yet and still finds himself in those top 3 conversations. And this is where we go back to say any given Saturday, because I'm telling you guys, Mario Stewart's physique is Olympia ready. And I say that because I will truly pick this physique over some of the guys who are already qualified at the Olympia right now. But that's not how they choose how to go to the Olympia. You got to show up on a Saturday and kick the people's ass who are sitting in front of him. And unfortunately, he didn't do that this past weekend. But this guy has a bright future. Keep an eye out. But nonetheless, Mario Stewart coming in at another 3rd place finish. Your top 2 was a fierce battle between 2 multi-time Olympians, with a lot of hype going into these shows surrounding these names. But coming in at 2nd place, and I want you guys, again, stop me if you ever heard this one before, because just last week, a similar result took place, but coming in at 2nd place is none other than Mehdi Kabaj. Again, coming off of what I personally believe was the best package that Mehdi has ever brought, and he continues that momentum here at the Atlanta Pro and shows up with a very comparable package and looked honestly absolutely phenomenal. Extremely balanced from front to back, crazy detailed, crazy conditioning, and just a guy who really is not missing anything He just needs more of everything. I guess you could say he's missing legs a little bit in his lower body, but this was a close battle, and I truly could see it going either way. And that says a lot about Mehdi because he's going against the guy who plays 14th in the world and truly a rising star in the world of men's physique. Because the one thing about Mehdi is I truly believe he's one of the most underrated men's physique athletes in the world. Why? Because he has won multiple shows. He's been in conversations with some of the most elite men's physique athletes of all time. He's won big shows like the Tampa Pro. And again, he's just a guy who controls his variables. I think there's a lot to be said about a guy who shows up consistent, right? And always finds himself in those conversations, no matter who he's standing next to. But nonetheless, coming in at second place is Mehdi Kabaj. And your 2025 Atlanta Pro champion and your newest qualified Olympian is your current 14th ranked men's physique athlete in the world, and your international men's physique rising star is none other than Joe Orzuto. Joe truly has one of the craziest physiques that I have ever seen, and more specifically in person. Like, I don't think on camera the true density and roundness and just completeness of his physique is truly represented, because when you see it in person standing next to other people, and keep in mind, I stood next to him at the Olympia in our call out, and I'm sitting here like there is no way that this fits a weight cap. Like, there was no way. But his physique is truly something special. He's round in all the right areas. His chest looks absolutely insane. His conditioning is on point. His back is fucking nuts. The one thing that I don't love about his physique, which is the only reason that I gave Mehdi a chance going into this show, is just his shoulder to waist ratio. Now, he is wide as a barn door, but his waist also is a little bit wider than I would think is warranted, or better yet, rewarded in the men's physique division. But that also goes to show, just because you don't have one thing doesn't mean if you have everything else that you're not going to be in those conversations, because this physique truly deserves this win. He looked absolutely amazing. His polish was on point. His conditioning was on point. Just everything was on point. And the fact that he traveled from a whole nother country to come here and just get the fucking job done, one and done, just like he did last season to get to the Olympia. This guy, I'm telling you guys right now, you have to keep an eye out for him, because Joe is one of those guys you might not know much about just simply because of where he lives and the lack of social media presence. But if this physique can truly continue to fine tune and peak perfectly and come in with the crazy etched out details like some of the guys in those first call outs, Joe's gonna be very hard to stand next to. But nonetheless, the winner of the Atlanta Pro is none other than your one and done champion in Joe Orzuto. I love saying his name. We're officially 8 weeks out from the Mr. Olympia. And this point in prep is where you start to see and hear confidence in these athletes start to rise, especially from some of your contenders. It started with Jeremy Buendia.
I can compete with the best. I can beat Ryan Terry. I can beat Brandon Hendrickson. I can beat Aaron Banks.
And then Aaron Banks.
I know I'm walking home with another trophy.
And I know no one can forget what Ali Bilal said.
And if he comes in 100%, I don't care. I'm going to win anyways.
And coming off of the Tampa Pro, we heard this from your two-time fourth place finisher at the Mr. Olympia.
I have everything that I need to be number one. I'm the threat. Everybody else has it factors. I have everything.
Even your 9th ranked men's physique athlete in the world, in Ben Quill, has something to say.
We 13 weeks out from the 2025 Mr. Olympia, and we're going to win it.
And that doesn't count the countless of times that Brandon Hendrickson made his Olympia intentions clear. But one person who we haven't heard much from throughout his entire prep is the man who all of these guys are currently chasing, our 2-time champion in Ryan Terry, until he explained how he feels about the competition coming for his job. Let's take a listen.
I am fired up more than you will ever know. And I've seen how hard I'm training, how badly I want this, and how I know this is going to be my very, very best.
I wouldn't expect anything else from your current champion. I don't think that Ryan Terry has to play these call-out games or has to force himself in the conversation. You are the conversation. Everybody is coming for you. And when you're a champion and you're sitting upon the king's throne, that you don't need to walk off that throne so your voice is heard. Your actions will always speak louder. And that's exactly what he's been backing, because we still have seen physique updates, right? We still see the fact that this man is taking care of his body to make sure that he's at his best come the Olympia, but he's just not speaking shit. But he dropped something subtle. And you can tell when he looks directly in the camera and he says, I'm motivated more than ever. You can say whatever you want about Andre Ferguson, but make sure you say that this motherfucker is real. Because in a recent interview with BTS TV, Ferguson did not hold back. In this interview, he went on to express his feelings about Jeremy Buendia's last ride.
Why does he get to say he's gonna win? He hasn't won anything since 2017. What the fuck makes us think he's gonna win? And I'm being dead serious. There's nothing extra on it. I'm just being 100. But yo, bro, if he gonna sit here and act like that top 10 wasn't gifted last year, he's out of his fucking mind, bro. That prejudging package was not it, bro. It wasn't, bro.
Why he's prioritizing master shows.
I get paid really good on the bonus money from the sponsors for the master shows. So that's why I did so many. Like, that's why I went and got 7 wins this year, because, yo, I just can't turn down the money, dude. Besides this, the Masters Olympia, for most of those master shows, I don't have to come in at 100% to win them.
His thought on the potential of a new male fit model division.
That new division in bikini with fit model, where you really don't have to lift. Like, yo, bro, I know 10 girls in my gym right now that never did a competition that could win that right now. They'll never do that for men. Men's physique was what they wanted it to be, and it evolved to bodybuilding, and that's good enough for them. They don't, yo, no one is going to accept another division underneath this. No.
And he sends a message directly to Arnold himself.
And yes, I think the prize money should go up. And yes, I think Arnold should shut the fuck up about the board shorts. Because people saying, oh, why don't we make the shorts even shorter, or why don't we get rid of the shorts? Then it's classic physique, bro. There's a difference. There's a reason why they have shorts. They're trying to separate the divisions. Once they make the shorts a certain length shorter, then it blurs the divisions. There's no difference.
This is true entertainment. And honestly, there's not much more to add, because if you watch the entire interview, then I think most of us could agree he's not necessarily wrong about really anything that he said. I just don't think a lot of people like how he said it, but not necessarily what he said. But like I said, pure entertainment. The IFBB Pro League and China DMS, which is, or at least was, an extension of the IFBB in China, had a massive falling out, which is leading to lawsuits, forcing athletes to pick side. And I'm gonna try to do my best to explain this as simply as I possibly can. So I'm gonna ask you guys to please bear with me, but this could lead to a lot of implications for a lot of the international athletes, which are without a doubt making a lot of impact in the current day and age of men's physique. The conflict began when DMS required natural athletes to undergo a 6-hormone panel test, a rule that's not included in the official IFBB guidelines for natural shows. This led to controversy as some athletes did not pass and reported the issue to the IFBB, arguing that DMS had created its own standards and unfairly banned them from the competition. Following this, DMS deflected responsibility and claimed that the dispute was tied to an IFBB's position on Taiwan, though the IFBB maintains that this was not the case. Okay, so now that you guys have a brief understanding of really what's going on, in simple, you have athletes who weren't able to compete and were disqualified because they didn't pass what was a drug test at a natural show, but they also tested for things that weren't, under the guidelines, so they could have competed. The athletes got upset, went to the IFBB. So after that situation, the IFBB then came out with a response, a long-winded response. So I'm just gonna try my best to condense it and simplify it as much as I possibly can. But I'm gonna also have like the full statement on the screen. So if you guys wanna pause it and read it, you're more than happy to. NPC Worldwide and the IFBB Pro Leagues officially cut ties with DMS on August 11th, 2025. After DMS failed to follow rules of the natural regional contest in Guam, China, the violation negatively impacted many Chinese competitors who then called for a strong action. DMS refused to take responsibility, which led to their removal as a contest promoter. Afterwards, DMS claimed that the split was due to political comments from Taiwan, China, but the IFBB and NPC say that it was completely false. They argue that DMS only made these accusations after being removed, and that their intent is to damage the federation's reputation in China. The IFBB and NPC reaffirmed that their stance that bodybuilding has no barrier on race, religion, politics, or culture. The IFBB then went on to say that they stand with their Chinese athletes and reject DMS's claims as defamatory. And now I want to quickly summarize the China DMS's statement in response to the IFBB Pro statement. DMS officially announced on August 10th, 2025 that it was completely terminating corporations with the IFBB Pro League. The company cites the IFBB's refusal to comply with Chinese law and its rejection of the One China principle as the non-negotiable reason. DMS also claims that China's IFBB Pro League announcement circulated online and is misleading, and it was actually published by Hunj Events, which is basically a rival of the China DMS like system. Like there's China DMS and then there's like this Hume, whatever his name is, Events, and they don't like China DMS. So it's almost like the Trojan horse in China got word from the IFBB and now they're reporting, hey, China DMS sucks, from the motherland. According to DMS, the IFBB stance has prevented them from hosting events normally, leading to financial damages that they plan to pursue legal action for. They strongly condemned Hunji Events, again, the Trojan horse guy, for spreading false information and distorting the facts. Finally, DMS reaffirms that any organization or individual who defames the damage of their reputation will face fully legal action. That was a lot to digest, but like I said, I'm gonna try to keep this as simply as possible. This is a natural show in China. And athletes who got tested in those natural shows feel like they were wrongly tested for something that wasn't a part of the IFBB guidelines. They weren't able to compete. They were upset. They went to the IFBB. The IFBB then looked over the situation and agreed with those athletes. And then they came out with a response. And in that response, China DMS didn't like it. They felt like they were twisting the facts. And then in China, a media company, a media source, almost like if me for the IFBB started to talk negatively against the IFBB, but probably just a much bigger platform, started to cover the situation to, target, I guess, against China DMS, which China did not like. And now they are basically splitting ways. But of course, there's legal ramifications and actions when it comes to two big leagues and federations. That's besides the point. Now, I had the opportunity to speak with a few different people who either live in China or very close to the situation. And based off of all of the facts that they see, and also the specific individual who lives in China, goes to these shows, and is also a part of the IFBB, they are not happy with the China DMS. They feel like they did something wrong, and instead of owning their mistakes, they just try to push it on somebody else, saying it wasn't their fault. Meanwhile, you have the IFBB trying to back the athletes, but now, and this is where I kind of go back to why this is even a deal in the first place. If you guys remember this past year at the Mr. Olympia, it was a year of international athletes breaking through, right? You have Ryan Terry, our current champion, who was out of the UK, and Joe Orzuto, a guy who just placed 14th in the world, just won the Atlanta Pro, another guy who, again, lives internationally in the Asia countries, which this could have a big, issue with not having opportunities to compete in their country to qualify. So instead, they have to fly all the way to the United States or neighboring countries in order to get an Olympia qualification. So it's a lot more planning, it's a lot more hecticness, it's a lot. Like I said in the beginning, this week is just a lot in men's physique. So with all of that, I'm really curious to follow this story and figure out kind of what is gonna happen, because if they stop allowing shows in China, or at least qualifying shows to the Olympia or getting your pro card or whatever it is in China, that's gonna hurt. And you gotta understand, China is a big market, not only just for men's physique, but for bodybuilding as a whole. So I'm really curious to know what's going on. I mean, as an athlete myself, like putting my athlete cap on, this sucks. Why? I love competing in national. You guys know I competed in Mexico, I competed in India, and my plan was to compete in either China or Tokyo this year. Why? Because I want to broaden my horizon. I want to learn different cultures, and the way that they do it over there is fucking insane. Like, they treat you like a star, not just when you walk out on stage, you have like the smoke, it was awesome. And I love seeing that. I want to be a part of that. But at the same time, I will not be ever competing in a show that doesn't allow me to level up, get to the Olympia, win a show to be, recognized as an IFBB win. And I would never go against a federation who I believe in, i.e. the IFBB. So therefore, this situation can lead to a lot of shit. So I'm paying very close attention. I'll keep you guys updated on it. And this next topic I want to talk about is a truly full circle moment for not just myself, but also for the men's physique division. For those of you who may have lived under a rock over the last couple of weeks, Hart McGrath is back. And no, he's not just dipping his toe in, he is all in on the men's physique coverage content. The man who got me inspired to pick up this camera and to cover the men's physique division in a way that I feel would help educate, inspire, and entertain you guys, the fans, the audience, the athletes, giving them a platform, and also highlighting the high character individuals of this division is back. And in order to do this right, to truly give it justice, I think we have to fully embrace what we felt like we had missed over the last 17 months of his departure. Hart McGrath is back on YouTube and as a Manifest sponsored athlete. I think the only thing that we're missing is, like, instead of saying Manifest, that needs to say don't quit. And Hart, if you're watching this, if you quit again, bro, but on a serious note, he's back. And I feel like this has been a void in the men's physique division. And I also feel that my style of content that I've been creating didn't fill that void. And I'll explain why. You cannot recreate Hart. Like, you cannot recreate his personality, his views, because the way that he views the men's physique division and some of these athletes' lives are ways that I don't personally view them. And because of that, he's always going to have his own unique personal spin on the division and the athletes within the division. Meanwhile, my style of content, my goal is to continue to educate you guys on what's happening in men's physique. That's why we do show recaps. That's why we do physique analysis. Meanwhile, Hart is more entertainment, when I think I can lean more towards educational or more news-focused updates. And I think the blend of our contents together is really going to help elevate the men's physique division, because you can watch my content to learn about men's physique and also just have a better understanding of what the judges are looking for or the specific topics that he might not cover. Whereas you can learn about these athletes, you know, their crazy physiques, their personal lives, and so on and so forth from a unique perspective as Hart's. So when you combine these two different thought processes that cover slightly different angles of a similar situation, you're going to be able to learn so much more about the men's physique division. And I truly don't see Hart coming back to men's physique as competition. I see him as collaboration, which is exactly why I'm so excited to have him a part of the Manifest competition wear team. And I also said that this was a full circle moment because of the fact that, for those of you who don't know, Manifest came out just last year. And when did Hart depart? Last year. And it was at those early stages of him thinking about taking a step away from men's physique is when I reached out to Hart about being a part of the Manifest brand. And he was all for it. He got sent to board shorts. He fell in love with them. He wore them to the gym, right? I'll never forget that. And then he walked away for reasons that was understandable, but he walked away. And as much as I understood, you know, I knew that he could have a lot of impact, you know, for Manifest in the men's physique division, and it sucked. But now that he's back, and now I'll have to have a conversation with him, this is a full circle moment to have him a part of the future of this brand. So Hart McGrath fans of men's physique as a whole, make sure you not only support Hart McGrath's videos, continue to support my videos, but make sure that you check out Manifest Competition Wear and make sure you continue to invest in the best board short company in the entire world. I know you can't see my eyes right now, but I mean it. But as always, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for the continued support on this channel. We aren't going anywhere. We're only double downing on the work that we're gonna put in, and it's gonna be a fucking movie. So until the next one.